It was Christmas Day, 2018. My family and I had just finished opening gifts when, in the most Hallmark Christmas movie fashion ever, my mom reveals one more gift we had yet to open. She handed me an envelope. In the envelope, there were tickets to see Les Miserables at the Cadillac Theater in Chicago. I was shocked. In that moment, all my dorky musical theater dreams came true. In a couple of months, I was going to see a live production of one of my favorite shows of all time. So, flash forward 7 months of anticipation, and we arrive at July 17th, 2019, the day of the production. I spent the entire morning getting ready, making sure my hair and makeup was perfect. My sister and I were listening to the soundtrack at a deafening volume, not caring who heard us screeching along with the recording. The weather that day was sunny and in the high 90s, which made the idea of a long drive in my mother's car with no air conditioning a little worrisome. As you can imagine, on our trip to Chicago, we spent a big chunk of the drive sitting in heavy traffic, which in ideal circumstances is unpleasant. But at this point, the stress of making it to the theater on time, along with the unrelenting heat in the car, we were starting to get a little agitated. So when the GPS on the phone suggested an alternate route to the theater, we said, what could go wrong? And took the next exit, hoping to shave a few minutes off of our commute. Oh, how wrong we were. We spent 45 minutes navigating the tricky detour in neighborhoods we had never even heard of before, and we were managing okay until it came time for us to get back on the interstate. I am dead serious when I tell you, we missed the exit back onto 90 7 times. And every single time, the GPS would direct us to a residential area a few minutes out of the way so we could turn around, and then directed us back towards the exit, where, with no warning at all, would command, turn left, after we had already missed the turn. Then the cycle repeated 6 more times. In the end, our little shortcut probably added more time and used up more gas than if we had just waited it out in traffic. But eventually we did make it back onto the interstate, and besides sitting in heavy traffic again, had a pretty uneventful time getting to the parking garage. After we arrived at the parking garage, as we were turning into that lane where the valet takes your car, I watched in slow motion as my mom threw up both hands and whispered, I forgot the tickets. I could tell by the look on her face she wasn't joking. The tickets we had purchased months in advance were sitting at home on our kitchen table. After the initial shock wore off, I began to mentally form a plan of action. I decided we needed to go to the will call office at the theater, explain what had happened, and see if they could work something out to get us in the seats we had ordered. So, still feeling very sticky and very stressed out, we started walking in the direction of, or should I say what we thought was the direction of the theater. Somehow, in the commotion of realizing we had forgotten the tickets and rushing to get there on time, we had started walking in the complete opposite direction of the theater. So now we're lost in downtown Chicago, looking for the theater that was supposed to be just down the street from where we parked. As we start realizing that it's taking us much longer than we thought to get there, everyone in the group starts bickering about which way we should go. Then I hear a sound that makes me sick to my stomach. Thunder, followed by the pitter-patter of raindrops hitting the pavement. We start walking even faster, racing to get out of the rain and into the dry protection of our destination. This is the point of the evening I almost gave up. I wanted to get back in the car and go home. I started thinking that even if we find the theater, we probably won't make it on time. And if by some miracle we make it on time, what if the people at Will Call can't give us our tickets and we miss it anyway? So we walked in the rain for about 15 minutes, but it felt like hours. By the time we got to the theater, we looked like we had all just climbed out of Lake Michigan. So, upon arriving at the theater, dripping wet, we walked timidly over to Will Call. We explained what had happened, and by some miracle, the employees were able to write a pass for us to sit in the seats we had purchased. We were so relieved. I was so glad I hadn't given up and gone home, even when it seemed like nothing good would come of fighting through the rain. And we still had plenty of time to get to our seats. And even though people were probably staring at us all night, and I'm sure we looked absolutely ridiculous, I suddenly forgot about all the chaos we went through to get there. The performance was absolutely amazing and everything I could have dreamed it would be. If I had to pinpoint a lesson I learned from this experience, it would be sometimes overcoming. Okay, should I just.